What if your greatest rival challenged you with questions that had no real answers, hoping to humiliate you in front of an entire kingdom? Sometimes, intelligence is not about knowing every answer, but about responding with wisdom, confidence, and presence of mind. King Akbar greatly admired Birbal for his wisdom, quick thinking, and remarkable ability to solve even the most difficult problems. And this admiration often became the subject of discussion throughout the royal court. While most of the ministers respected Birbal for his intelligence, one particular courtier secretly resented him because he had always dreamed of becoming the chief minister himself, a position that remained out of reach as long as Birbal served the emperor. With every compliment that King Akbar gave Birbal, the courtier grew more jealous, until one day he could no longer hide his frustration. After hearing the king once again praise Birbal before the entire court, the courtier boldly stepped forward and declared that Birbal was not nearly as intelligent as everyone believed. He confidently announced that if Birbal could answer 3 questions that had no ordinary solution, he would gladly admit that Birbal truly deserved his reputation. King Akbar, always eager to witness the brilliance of his favorite advisor, immediately accepted the challenge and instructed the courtier to ask his questions. Standing proudly before the court, the courtier asked, "How many stars are there in the sky? Where is the exact center of the earth? And how many men and how many women are there in the world?" The entire court fell silent because everyone understood that these questions were impossible to answer with certainty. The emperor then turned to Birbal and said, "If you cannot answer these questions, you must resign as chief minister." Birbal showed no sign of worry and calmly asked for a little time before presenting his answers. The following day, he entered the royal court carrying a large woolly sheep and placed it before the king. Looking directly at the courtier, he smiled and said, "There are exactly as many stars in the sky as there are hairs on the body of this sheep. If my honorable friend has any doubts, he is welcome to count every hair on the sheep, and then count every star in the sky to verify my answer." The court immediately burst into laughter, while the courtier stood speechless. Birbal then picked up an iron rod, walked to the middle of the royal hall, marked a spot on the floor, and drove the rod firmly into the ground before saying, "This is the exact center of the earth. If anyone believes otherwise, they are welcome to measure the entire world and prove that this point is incorrect." Once again, the court erupted with laughter because everyone understood the cleverness of his reply. Finally, Birbal addressed the last question and said, "Determining the exact number of men and women in the world would be possible if not for one complication. There are certain people, like our honorable courtier here, who cannot easily be classified because of their peculiar nature. Until every such person is removed from the count, no one can accurately determine the exact number of men and women in the world." The court could no longer contain its laughter, and the jealous courtier lowered his head in embarrassment, realizing that the very challenge he had designed to humiliate Birbal had instead exposed his own foolishness. King Akbar smiled with great satisfaction because Birbal had once again demonstrated that true wisdom is not about possessing every fact, but about understanding the nature of a problem and responding with intelligence, confidence, and wit. The courtier had no choice but to accept defeat, and everyone present understood why Birbal remained the most trusted advisor in the kingdom. The moral of the story is that true intelligence is not measured by knowing every answer, but by using wisdom, creativity, and presence of mind to overcome even the most impossible challenges.